Yo, what's up, guys? What's up? All right, we're live. Is that time of the day? What's good? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here in a couple minutes. So I've been reviewing a couple things here on kind of how I want to approach my channel in general. I don't really upload very often, clearly. And yeah, I want to be able to, kind of get intentional with doing so. I have some recordings and things like that I could definitely post. I have years worth of trading psychology stuff as well. But I want to, kind of give you guys what you think you could benefit the most from. So let me know in the chat. Um, yeah, let me know what you guys would want to see, whether it be more technicals, specific struggles that you might be going through, things like that. So just let your boy know. But what's up, David, Carlos, ¿qué tal, chicos? Seth and Linz, what's good? Quereisha, how's everything in PR? La entrada en BTC fue clean, 3,000 pips y corriendo con parcial tomado. Yes, sir. Yeah, that Bitcoin buy was nice, huh? Yes, sir. All right. So, y'all heard that crack open, right? That was like that was literally the perfect um, opening of a can. Most definitely. I'm having issues with the camera, so unfortunately, I'm not really able to screen share right now, or to like get my camera going. I don't know. This keeps happening. But so I asked on my Instagram broadcast channel. I asked about what you have cracking a cold one. Nah, I'm not really. I'm not really an alcohol person. It's I think I might be partially traumatized from like 16 to 21, and then also I'm like really vulnerable to headaches. So yeah, I'm not so much a drinker. That was there's a little light caffeine intake for the moment, but get you guys going here. Mike, estas sesiones las das en español. Sí, los domingos, David. But yeah, guys. So on my broadcast channel on IG, if you guys are not, you don't have it. Actually, let's see. Can you just find it? Is that a thing? Yeah, it is actually. So it's just on my profile. Just my name, full name. There's a little check mark. So, yeah, don't get scammed by random people by any means. But yeah, the Bitcoin buys played out. And then, what's up, Ray? What's good, brother? Yo, shout out Ray, man. Y'all ever in Puerto Rico and you need a tour guide or you need someone to walk you through the coolest spots, hit Ray up. But I asked, what it is that you guys wanted for today's stream, and the requests were the following. It was requested for gold, silver, indices, and then indices in crypto. So, basically everything. No. Solo los domingos en español. Yeah. But okay, cool. So yeah, we'll do a little bit of everything, guys. We'll kind of dive into crypto, where I think things are going in the crypto space. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about what is happening for the month, because guys, I mean, it's not, we're not very far. We're not very far from the presidential elections, congressional elections. This Super Tuesday, November 5th, is going to be absolutely epic on just the coolest proportions. And if you've never traded elections, oh man, it's amazing. And I would say it's not for it's I would say it's really not for it's not for newer traders. Your emotions will be tested for sure. Your you are more exposed to quite a bit of slippage, and like it is a lot of volume, and I'll show you guys here just so you can kind of see what this looked like the last few elections. So what date were the last presidential, just to give you guys exact dates, and I want you guys to look at the volume of these days. So for example here, 2020 was November 3rd, and I just want to show you guys the volatility of all of these days. So I know there's a good amount of you probably that were trading. Actually, let me know here in the chat if you were trading in 2020. Drop a 2020 in this chat right here if this was you, if you were trading around this day. So here, this was Biden doing his thing. So honestly, it actually wasn't really too crazy. I think with the amount of volatility that we were having just during these kind of like COVID eras, COVID years, things were, I guess, not as extreme, but prior, like the week before and that same week, we had quite a bit of movement. I mean, you guys saw how, we saw price clear these lows. Like we had imagine that, a 9% drop. A 9% drop. That's a lot, guys. With the stock market, that's a lot. 9% in a matter of 7 days. And then the Friday before elections, then we get, and then basically to end the week, the market ends up going up almost 9%. So really good start for Biden's. Technically, I mean, he wasn't president yet, but for his run was pretty historic in terms of just price in general, right? And we end up basically mitigating this area, and this is pretty typical. So that's why I'm really curious to see where we go, because we get just shy of mitigations, and this is US 30. Obviously, we can look at NASDAQ, we can look at S&P and things like that. But for Dow Jones, I mean, it's a similar situation. This was 2016 when Trump got elected, and market a couple months before Trump's term ends, crashes, and this is that COVID crash. The market mitigates and then rallies. Now this was about 8 months prior to the new year, and then the market rallies. So same thing happened here. We get 2020. We end up mitigating about 2 years later for the market to then rally. And so here we are up here, and I'll break into what's going on over here. But so these are pretty volatile times. So you have, and I want you guys to see kind of what happens over here, which is the elections. And I'll dive more into this stuff later on as like we get closer. But here's what happens to the market, Wednesday and Thursday. So like elections go down, and then New York Open is here. And so you have Tuesday, market closes, and then you have an absolute meltdown in price action. I mean, look at this thing. Have you ever seen in 8 hours the market drop, at least with indices, have you ever seen it drop 1,000 points in 8 hours? So, and you have to think relative to the times, right? Now the market can move quite a bit more, like it's just more volatile in general. Like literally US 30 is at 40,000. So like if you would have bought Dow Jones, just in general, you would be up over 100% right now. you would be up, 100% and change just on traditional indexes, which is epic. So, anyways, and I'll do a deeper dive going into elections and markets and what to expect here later on. But so I think I want you guys to just start thinking about how everything sets up, because how the market is in place when these times happen don't just happen by accident. It's not like everything is set up step by step, brick by brick, etc. So this month, the news event and how the market is structuring itself, in my opinion, is basing itself around this moment. Next Wednesday, so not in 2 days, but in 9 days, we have interest rates, we have FOMC statements, conference, and then the economic projections. So this is finally forecasted to drop, and I'm sure it will. To make things more exciting, I don't know if it's going to drop just 0.25%. It might drop a little more. And then every quarter we have these FOMC economic projections, and the market tends to kind of swing in one direction following this particular moment. So I do think this will kind of set up, the rest of the year, or at least leading up to elections. So for the next 6 weeks or so, after this goes down, this will set up another wave of movement. And again, as you guys saw here, if we go back to how price moved in November of 2020, following elections here, the market solely just went up, like no chill. There's just one way this thing could go. And so, and we traded all of this, and for those of you that remember, we've been trading this. I've been streaming since the middle of, actually, since I bet just about, what was it? I think once Trump's second year in elections, that's kind of when I started like doing streams in December of 2017. So yeah, about basically once that started to happen. So yeah, I mean, depending on how the market's set, like imagine holding indices and just riding this out for 10,000 points. Right? Like, wouldn't that be something special? And it just depends on what things look like, right? It depends on how things are set up. So this was the last time. This was as Biden got put into place, and then similar situation basically happened with Trump. Trump did his thing, and then we saw a bullish market basically without any sort of pullbacks for a good 18 months, a year and a couple months, and then market continued on until we had, because of how aggressive things happened, it felt like there was some sort of just very deep pullback that was required, because these kind of imbalances were just kind of unusual. So we ended up seeing the pandemic rebalancing across the board. And so yeah, I mean, now moving forward, and we got to see some of this go down. If you were trading with us here throughout 2022, 2022 was the retracement year to kind of rebalance everything again. And then the market's been relatively healthy ever since then. I think at some point in time, I wouldn't be completely shocked if we work our way down to these October 2023 levels. I'm not fully convinced that we're not going to get that. But what I will say is that we have become very efficient, at least beyond 37,000. So big picture stuff, guys. I don't know if we're going to get back here until further notice. So for now, kind of just going on the day-to-day, daily time frames are kind of where you want. If you are a swing trader, I think you can stay more dialed in over here. Once we start to see a shift in momentum on the daily time frame, then we can kind of zoom out a little more and see if we'll ever get back below, back into those 33,000s and under. But for now, I think it's smart to just focus on kind of what's going on here with the market in general. And same thing goes with when you look at not just like US 30, but you start to pay attention to NASDAQ's price action, S&P's price action, and crypto in general. And so I'm not going to go into too much of a rabbit hole today with how the market has been moving, but I do think we are seeing across the board, we kind of saw a reaccumulation setup happen today. And what I mean by that is the way that the market dropped on Friday, this created quite a bit of panic, especially closing as bearish as we closed. When you see a Friday, a week close like this, it's pretty terrifying for a lot of investors. And so for the market to rally day one of the week and close above where we opened last Friday, this is a very confusing market for, I would say, a lot of investors. And you can take a same look. You can take a look at this same thing with crypto. Friday we saw Bitcoin spike up. You had NFP go down, and then Wallen from FOMC, he spoke, and the market just starts to crumble. So you see Bitcoin drop on Friday, about a 7-8% drop, and then obviously crypto moves during the weekend too. But by today's close, we closed not just above the open for New York session, but we end up closing above just the day completely, and even Thursday. So a lot more bullish momentum, guys. Overall, and this is what I had talked about this. You can go back to last month's analysis all of the weeks. I've been talking about this. And basically, my take on the markets overall were the fact that when we saw this happen, when we saw Bitcoin in early August just absolutely melt and recover, when we saw something like this happen, I spoke about how we were moving sideways for months. It was 6 months of this, basically, 5.5 months of just sideways buildup of buyers. And then once price came down to these levels, my opinion is that this was meant to just liquidate and incentivize sellers, liquidate buyers, incentivize sellers into the market. The only thing that I'm mindful of right now, because I'm not really convinced that these levels are we're gonna really break below this anymore. I'm curious to see what happens when price gets back up to 60 again, because this is going to be a real test, how aggressively this drops, or if the market can actually sustain this. But overall, I think when it comes down to this, and you can look at the monthly candles, it just depends on how you want to look at this, but I think that the way in which Friday closed was very, very intentional. The way in which Friday closed across the board, all markets, this really scared a lot of people. This really was look at the weekly candle for indices, stock market. This just scared everybody. And so I was really curious to see how we were going to respond to close out the week and to kick off the first day. And so considering that we saw just indices in general rally as much as we did today, this to me showed its intention. Because what I do when I look at the market is I'm not just looking at, is price up or down? Is it lower lows or lower highs? It's not about that. It's what's the motive behind the movement. Why did US 30 on Friday, why did this have to get below, basically September and most of August price action? Why did it drop to here? Why Friday? Why at this time? Why did it happen the way that it happened? And when you have a weekly close the way that this closed, lots of fear enters the marketplace. Tons of fear. But what at least I kept in mind was, the month just closed like this. US 30's month just closed like this. Massive. During August, at one point, think about this. At one point during August, price was down here. This was a bearish black engulfing candle over here. This looked like one of those typical bearish candlestick patterns. At one point during the month, that's what had happened. There was a massive, massive, massive candle like that. and by the end of the month, we ended up closing up here. So you got to keep in mind, like, you got to rifle through the overall perspective, your overall trend. And I wasn't completely sold on whether we were going to stay. I thought, like, there's a pretty good chance we got down a little bit lower. But to me, I mean, we're seeing enough evidence that this is going to continue. This is a reaccumulation. Price comes down here for the intention of liquidating buyers below 40,500. Like, that's the sole purpose behind some of these moves, in my opinion. And so now this gets buyers out of the game, and there's no coincidence that the market traded the way it did today. So overall, I think that we have a more bullish, like, by the end of the month, I think we're going to end up closing relatively bullish going into October. I wouldn't be surprised if next Wednesday, if this here, if in 9 days is kind of the mitigation, the what kind of like the lower point. Maybe we get back by like next Wednesday. I don't know. We end up trading over here to then continue and extend again. So big picture stuff, guys. I do see indices working their way higher. I'm not convinced that the market is done and that we're now super bearish or anything. Not quite. So either way, I know most of you here, you're not even thinking about long term. You're like, I'm just trading this day by day, bro. Like, I don't care, honestly. I'm just here. I day trade indices. Whatever they want to do, that's cool. But I like to give you guys the overall perspective, because based on what indices are doing and also what other markets are showing, this will also give you a pretty good take on where crypto can go as well. So for a lot of you, and let me ask you guys a question. I know I have, like, I don't know how many of you are on here, like 60 people on or something. And so for those of you that are here right now, how many of you trade and invest? Drop a trade and invest in the chat. I want to know, like, what, or how many of you just trade and how many of you just invest and like have a portfolio? Because the whole game changes when we look at it like that. Like, the way you look at the market changes, how precise you need to be changes, the timing of things definitely change. So I see a lot of trade and invest, trade and invest. Okay. And I actually have another question for you guys. How many of you are trading like CFDs? So, like MetaTrader, TradeLocker, DXTrades, MatchTrade, all those guys. And how many of you are trading futures? So, yeah, curious to see that. Okay. So, yeah, I was trade for the moment. Okay, cool. Futures, sweet. All right, so there's a couple of things I'm going to go over on the more now. Let's, diving into the trading side stuff. There's a couple of things that I saw so far that I was interested in. And first, I want to talk about possible buy side scenarios for indices. So we have US 30, and I'll cover US 30 first, just because I think it's worth looking at before anything else. Okay, so most of you are CFDs. So for those of you that are saying MT5, TradeLocker, those are CFDs. If you don't know what CFDs are, you can just look it up. But it's what you've been trading. It's what you've probably been trading for years. And so, what's the difference between futures and CFDs? I mean, we can look at it from a couple different ways, but on a technical perspective, it's pretty similar. Futures, you're not really trade a swap, but you do and you don't. It's not there, but you don't get positioned exactly where you want to. It depends on the availability. There's a bid and ask, so someone needs to be able to buy, and someone needs to be on the other side of your trade. The regulations are really different as well. I think you're under better regulations with futures. There's just more that you can do under proper, I mean, if you're in the US especially. So it just depends. Legally, like under regulations, trading, I think indices is actually possible. Whereas if you're trading indices and you're in the US and you're doing it with CFDs, you're usually doing it with like an unregulated broker. So how your money is protected is one thing, and then yeah, I mean, if anybody in the chat wants to give their opinion, they can. I'm not going to go deep. I can do another video on that in the future, but for the sake of the stream, if anyone else that trades futures wants to explain the difference, feel free. So with US 30 and NASDAQ have very similar setups in S&P, and it's this one here. So Friday, to close out the day, we had a nice push to the downside. So we had with US 30 a very clean push, a little over 105 points. The market sweeps these lows and then rallies. So we definitely saw a push in price, right? They drop price intentionally and then end up opening and gapping up to kick off the week, and the market just did not come back. So at some point, I think you guys, well, we all will get a pullback down to here, and maybe it happens midweek, maybe it happens next week. Not necessarily sure, obviously, like, and I don't really care when it happens, but at some point we'll be ready when it does. So that's also why we use alerts, and I'm obviously streaming every morning with you guys so that you have that guidance, right? We stay up to date, we're on point, and so you have that here with US 30. So you guys say we need a futures video? Okay, here, let me take notes. I need to start taking notes when there's video requests. And so video requests, and then if you do have video requests, now is the time to drop that video request. What difference between futures and CFDs? Okay, there's one. So crypto and only crypto video. Yeah, right. I need to duplicate myself more. Yeah, you guys have been asking for a crypto stream every single time. So crypto stream / video upload. Okay. I think I just need to do that. I just need to make a quick video and just upload it for you guys. Like something that you guys can kind of follow along. More stocks. Okay. Hey, can you just look at everything more, bro? That would be great. Stocks updates, or like stocks of that I have on my radar. Stock updates, radar. Okay. Cool. These all help. I can do this. All right. Okay. Sorry guys. I'm getting a little sidetracked here. So at some point, I think we can see a good buy setup here. I was almost enticed into selling US 30 today. I really was thinking about it, but Nas. So when New York opened, price action was very bullish with US 30. So there was just a lot of bullish momentum, and even though this was a very sellable structure, like big buy from Friday, market drops, all that good stuff. So I was enticed to do so, and I do think we ended up mitigating here, like this drop here, but this just broke above the highs, so good chance I would have been stopped out anyways, but I did not sell because NASDAQ was very, very much not willing to work its way higher. So NASDAQ is still trading within this bearish structure. So NAS is very much chilling here. And I'm going to get to Forex, guys, and metals here soon. So just so you guys are aware of kind of what comes next. But yeah, so Forex and metals coming soon here to today's stream. But it ended up staying in structure on futures. And that's another thing that it's been very interesting. And it's been the difference between, and I'm going to pull it up right now actually, but it's been the difference between the data feeds on CFDs and the data feeds with futures. more info on brokerage accounts, that I will not be making for you guys. I can tell you that right now. I have zero interest in talking about brokers on this channel, like completely. I have no interest in doing that. That only leads to trouble. Completely. How you mentioned, I did not mention a broker on this. So don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Oh, it did. It really did stay inside of a structure here. Huh. Look at that. So this is mini contracts for Dow Jones. I don't think it would be any different for micros, right? Like it really shouldn't. It should be the same. Yeah, so micros stayed in here too. Okay. Huh. All right, hold on. Let me see something here. So US 30 broke above. This is Awanda's data feed. What about Forex.com? Forex.com also stayed in here. That's so interesting. The quest towards accurate data feeds continues. Will you look at that? Okay, so going back to just the market overall, this does change things a little bit, but not too much, because overall, what I want to see is opportunity. So what we really look for consistently is, okay, where do we have liquidity in the markets, and where do we have the bigger players in the markets? It's two main things. So as we're looking at price here, we have price sweep, tons of liquidity, and then work its way down. NASA's really struggled to work its way higher, and I think we're going to get a mitigation here. I don't know how deep of a pullback we're going to end up getting. And I say that because as you look at US 30, US 30 has just strongly worked its way higher. Like very good bullish structure. NAS, not so much. So if I am gonna go for shorts, probably tomorrow on NASDAQ, but I will be a bit more conservative on my exit. I'll probably won't take more than a 2R on my exit here, just to lock something in. And then when it comes down to these buy setups, as you guys can see, at the moment, now this could change, so always keep that in mind. But at the moment, US 30 is trading much more bullish than NASDAQ. You guys can see in regards to where we're at in the overall structure in the market, we're trading way up here with US 30, while NASDAQ is not quite trading as high. So at the moment, it looks like NASDAQ could work its way to this zone first. And if that is the case, then US 30 will likely continue to work its way down until it gets here, and then the market can mitigate. So US 30, I do like positions for buys down here below 40,300. It's kind of the area I would want to take some positions in, probably closer to 40,250 or 40,265-ish, like right over here is at the moment, right? Like how I would be looking at the market, but that's just me. So with that being said, if we zoom in a little bit more and you guys want to get a little bit more detail, I don't think NAS has left behind anything from today's New York session. I think Monday's New York session was pretty chill. So the only thing that I do see is that we had US 30 pump, or I guess push price down and then continue its movement. So this does seem like a nice sell-off that kind of clears out a few hours of London session trading, and then the market kind of rallies. So something like this looks very nice. Here we had a nice sell-off. The market kind of chopped up. This is a different type of entry model that I don't communicate very often because it's just not as probable as my mitigation setups, and to be honest, you don't really need more than one. So I like to keep things very, very, very consistent, just so it's easier to learn for everybody. there's a lot of different entry models if you consider smart money. There's like how to trade within imbalances or fair value gaps, or how to trade off of order blocks and things like that. And in my opinion, I think it's like mastering one setup could take you years. And I think most people want a lot of different entry models, and you end up just confusing yourself and not really being skilled. And I mean, you guys don't have to listen to me. You can just listen to Bruce Lee, right? What's his famous quote? Right? It's not about knowing 1,000 different punches or kicks. It's about being able to execute one and having to practice 10,000 times. So that's my perspective, at least. And so if you want to, you can know so much and so many different concepts and all these different things, and like that's cool, but is there a point, rather than just like what do you want out of this, right? You want outcomes, you want consistency, you want discipline. So will you get that by just having so much information? I'm not sure. Anyways, guys, what I do want to add is I do see a push down here before the market comes up and comes back down, and the market could mitigate over here. And questionable whether it already did this or not. It looks like it kind of did, and especially considering how aggressively we pushed from here, I think we already mitigated this, so I'm not going to force any trades here. And then same thing, we saw the market drop off from here. If anybody took a position, I could understand buys over here. I would have traded lower to have a better risk reward, but that's about it. So some of you maybe took this and maybe you saw 100 points and change, but overall, I'm not looking to participate with indices until we either get a little bit more information or we work our way down here with US 30. So US 30 at the moment, my main objective is this right here. So with what we have, I think we can trade from the zone this week. So here is US 30. And then for NAS, I think NAS, if we end up, instead of coming down tomorrow, but if we end up continuing our motion to the upside, then I do think we could see something within this zone. So sells in this area I do like. All right, so here you have NAS as well. Someone asked, can I check Dogecoin price action? It has not been exactly correlated to BTC. Does anybody else want me to look at Dogecoin, or is this just a PR thing? Okay, I'll do it just for you, man. Doge on the rally, pumping. So, I mean, it kind of is looking like Bitcoins, sort of. We can put them side by side. This is for the culture here. So, all right. I mean, you had Bitcoin drops, liquidates, and then the rally. Pretty similar, I would say. I'd say we're relatively similar. It looks like actually, but I'll tell you what, guys. And I didn't mention this when I did talk about crypto earlier. Alts are rallying better than Bitcoin and ETH. Altcoins are rallying much better. So nice push. Honestly, like this is looking good. This is looking really good here. I don't have any Doge, and I don't plan on having any Doge, but if you ever wanted to, especially if price trades up here or even goes higher, looks like any trades under 10 cents are probably going to be pretty decent. But yeah, I know I think Elon posted something, what was it, director of government efficiencies, which came down to Doge or something like that. Just silly typical Elon shit. But yeah, I mean, price right now is filled. It become very efficient, at least with Doge. I don't really see another super, like I don't really expect this to go under 8 cents again anytime soon. Again, I'm not invested in this by any means, but this is pretty decent. I think all-time highs were what, like 80 cents or 70 cents or something. I don't know if we're ever going to get up here again. This was Coinbase's drop. No, this actually happened after the fact. But either way, yeah, I mean, alts are moving better. So whether it's Doge, whether it's Pepe, whatever it is that you're looking at here, these will probably start to rally again. I wouldn't be surprised if meme coins start another nice little rally, because they are overall, like, for example, something like this. If you compare how alts recovered relative to Bitcoin and ETH, they did rally a bit more strongly. And you can look at, like, for example, like something like Solana, price again came up quite a bit higher than how it dropped on Friday. So a little bit better price action overall. We'll see if this happens. It does look like we're seeing a shift in that. So yeah, I don't think it's a complete change. Okay, and actually one thing I do want to ask you guys about, because I look at and think about things in a certain way. I can jump from crypto to indices to Forex to whatever, but I don't think everyone else can follow along at the same pace, because I do tend to forget that I have been doing this every day for hours for like basically 10 years. So if switching topics and markets, like not just currency, not just like pairs or assets, but just markets in general, if that is a bit more confusing, I will do a better job at kind of tackling on one market at a time. That way it's less kind of jumpy overall. So I am going to focus on doing that a bit more. I think that's going to be easier for everyone to follow along moving forward. But cool, that takes care of indices. Crypto, I think we can go into way more, but I don't think it'll be for this session. I think I'm going to go and kind of tackle on metals, and then we'll end with dollar pairs, because I do have setups for you guys for USD pairs, and I do have some setups for metals as well. And I wasn't live last week. I did have something come up, but basically to give you guys my perspective on metals, it's pretty simple. Yeah, so I think gold's about ready to run. So I do think we're gonna push to crack these highs again sometime soon. And so I think we can see metals work their way down one more time, get into this below 24.80, trade right around that 24.79ish, like right around these areas. I think we're gonna get there. And the further confirmation that I have for this is that do I use Qcoin? No, not anymore. I used Qcoin during last cycle, but I do not anymore. So, and then metals, right? So silver has left a lot of liquidity here. So there's a lot of retail buyers, and then the move to the upside wasn't as aggressive. So, and then gold has also left liquidity. So there's motive, right? So there's motive for money, for price to come down, clear out support, people buying at support. So there's reason for this to happen. And when we look at silver, which is a correlated pair with gold, these like to move very similarly. Silver has left behind, same thing, double bottoms, triple bottoms, if you will. And this is an easy bag for smart money. I mean, you have support. There's easy stop losses sitting right below here. So for price to work its way down, as I've shown here, this is, in my opinion, pretty likely to happen. So see a nice little push down. We might end up trading up from here first, so that's something to keep in mind. We just might see silver, and I'll talk about gold here again soon, but we just might see this work its way in. The only reason I don't have sells drawn up here is because on Friday we had the NFP push up, the market comes down, and then the market trades up again before coming down. It was a very choppy ride to the downside. So this wasn't like a huge institutional buy and then the market worked its way down, imbalance, blah blah blah. No, this was a sweep, a pullback, a drop, it loses momentum, the market becomes efficient, chops its way down until finally everything comes, crashing down. So we've already become efficient again with silver, and so that's why I don't necessarily have a sell position that I would be waiting for up here. And if you look at gold, similar situation, right? Gold, big pump to the upside, worked its way down. This does create an imbalance, and we do trade lower. Price then comes up again, and the sells here were really clean plays. Now, my style, I like trading a bit higher. I like tighter risk to reward, and so with that, I have accepted losing out on some trades, like just missing out on ideas in general, for the sake of better risk to reward. So sometimes I may not get in to ideas, but that's fine, because there's a give and take for really everything. And so in this example, I'm cool with that. So metals did fall off here to come back and make equal lows, but as you guys can see, when gold here comes down on Friday and on London session Monday, these make equal lows. But when you look at silver makes equal lows on a more bearish level. Silver comes down to where we were trading last week, whereas gold still bullish, still holding, still actually in a bullish structure, because gold went from lower highs, lower lows to higher highs. So structure is still bullish in general here, and I'm focused on this idea. So for those of you that are that love trading metals, I like gold buys, and specifically with the bonus of silver liquidating lows. Silver has to be trading below here in order for my gold buy to be valid, in my opinion. That's how I would want to take this. Lonzo, you said thoughts on this. You can't send charts on a YouTube stream, like in the chat. So can you just tell me specifically what it is that you want me to look at? And so here is gold, guys. XAU USD, just like what pair you want me to look at. So there's that. Or you know what we could do, guys? Let me pull something up real quick. So I am live right now, obviously. Let me get to the point. On what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop the link to my broadcast channel on Instagram. I believe on there, hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. You can reply to things, like you can reply. So if you have where is this thing? Where's the channel? What? So let's see, where is the thingy? Message. Is it in here? Channels. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can get a link to this thing. Can I get a link to this thing? Oh, here's the invite link. Okay. So here's the link to it. Let's see if YouTube and Instagram don't have beef and it'll let me do it. All right, so there's the link to it. There we go. Sweet. And so if you go there, if you guys want to drop your charts, so I'll have you guys do it here. So I'm gonna leave a message if you're watching the YouTube live stream. Reply with the charts you want me to look at. reply to this. Okay, boom. So reply to that. I just sent the message in that channel that you guys all can join, and then go ahead and do it. What motivates you to stream consistently, Mike? A couple of the reasons. I'm gonna be real with you guys. One, I think that, well, one, I've been just doing it by habit for like 7 years, and especially doing it live during New York Open and like actually taking trades live with you guys, so that I kind of like that accountability. Like part of it is like when you have people that are counting on you, you're more likely to not fail. You know, like for me, knowing that there's other people that are counting on me to show up, like I'm gonna show up. If it's just on me, like I'm probably gonna show up, but there's a little bit more wiggle room to not do it, right? To not do something. So I think that's a big part of it. Obviously, I think just in general, like I was really late to YouTube in general, in my opinion. Like I've been doing this privately for like, communities. I've gotten, I get paid by a company to stream. And so, but I've been doing that privately. Like at this point, I've had over 1 million people like watch me do this, but it's been in a private setting. And so kind of, I think just building a brand here publicly is important. And then I think just setting an example. Plus, like, I think it's going to be cool to look back at these things in, 10 years, 20 years, and go like, yo, like, remember when we were looking at Bitcoin at, well, I actually have recordings when we're looking at Bitcoin at 3,000 and 4,000 and 10,000 and 20 and 50 and 100 and whatever comes. So I think the documentation's I'm just someone of consistency. Like I love it. Like I'm at the gym every single day. It's just part of me. Like if I'm going to do something, usually it's something that I'm going to do for a long time, which this is one of those things. Plus, and the big thing, this is the biggest one, and I think it's really sick. But check this out. So actually, I'm going to share it with you guys because this is like the number one reason that I want to keep scaling this channel. I have this cool idea. And what I want to do is this. So because with streams, I think if I'm not mistaken, and you guys, for those of you that are more into the trading, like the streaming YouTube world, I think it's when you have 10,000 subs, you're able to set up like charity streams. So you're able to like I could do a stream for like clean water in whatever parts of the world. And so one of the things I want to do as this channel eventually gets to 10,000 is I want to do streams, and I want to host like a stream for giving to a specific whatever, like a specific entity, community, like a different country of the planet. So like I want to eventually have like 197 or however many countries are, depending on who you ask, but 195, 97 different like charity streams, so or give back streams or whatever you want to call them, so that like cool, we make money together or we're learning together, and like we all just pitch in to feed a family in like 195 different countries or something like that. So that's a big thing. Like that's kind of right now why I want to really keep this consistency and just kind of keep expanding, is because I think that would just be so cool for like just traders. Because here's the thing, like one of the things that I get asked is, and I think I might have been on here 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was in the Spanish channel, but someone said like, hey, like I feel like I don't really contribute to the world as a trader. Like I don't feel like I really do anything to humanity. And so, okay, now maybe not directly, but indirectly, if we're able to pull from these markets, then just even doing that, like for us to do our own, like just a culture of giving. Because I think if you're willing to give, you're also eliminating that scarcity mindset. So yeah, I think once a week, or maybe even these streams that I've been doing right now, these could just turn into like the give back streams or whatever, you know, when the time comes, we'll brand it. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I really like the vision with this overall. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of that. But we gotta get to we gotta get to 10,000 first. So the journey continues. But let me check out the Instagram broadcast channel, and then I can see if we have any charts here. So it looks like, okay, Zoe sent me one, Lonzo, and I can't open it, dude, and I can't copy it either. Okay, so that did not work the way I thought it was gonna work. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that. Yeah, like I can't even copy your message either. Okay, well, I'll have to figure out a different way of doing that. But anyways, if you guys like that idea, let me know, and obviously you can subscribe. That, I guess, 100% directly helps. So, okay, that's metals. Talked about that. Now let's tackle on the, hey, what's up? What up, Lynx? It's like 3 a.m. for you, no? 4 a.m.? Okay, so now looking at markets, I have a couple things. So I'm curious. I had a desire to sell USD CHF, and then I lost that desire, and then I'm not fully sold. So I'm seeing USD JPY kind of building up a little bit of liquidity here. So we kind of have some, you know, we kind of have a little bit of a trend going on here. We've got a little bit of this drop. USD CHF has been a bit more bullish than USD JPY, so I feel like it's not dropping. It's a bit more bullish than I would want it to sell off here. If we're looking at correlations, it's just not my thing here. But when it comes down to the other pairs, specifically when we start looking at NZD USD and AUD USD, these are the two setups that I like. So I want to work this down. I want to break this down for you guys, and we can kind of see which of the bunch is looking good. So when we're looking at AUD USD here, AUD USD gave a nice little wick here. This was the, what's his name? I wanted to call him Wallenberg, but that's a skateboarding thing. Waller. There we go. Waller's nice little speech created a little bit of a volatility on Friday, which was this spike up before the drop. So right now, as we look at AUD USD and NZD USD, I think these have left behind a very clean buy position and a smart money buy up here before this really works its way down. So I do think we can come back into this 0.67 range. Now I see that you like shorts around 0.6740, Lonzo, which I totally understand. Like here you have tons of resistance. There was liquidity building up, this spike that clears out all of this money. Then the market works its way down. So I'm going to stay out of that only because of the Waller news event. Like when he spoke, price spiked up to where this had that where the market opened and drove price higher. And based on the way that this came down, this looks like the money that was the buyer's money mitigated and sellers came in. So it looks to me like we exchanged buys to sells already. So, which is why I would want to see a sell here with AUD USD. Now, however, before doing that, you got to keep in mind NZD USD, because NZD USD basically does the same thing. NZD USD here, similar situation, spikes up 25 pips to the upside, closes out the buy, this comes crashing down. Now it's really just a matter of which one of these two is going to get to the zone last. That's how I trade it. Whichever one gets to the zone last has a better chance of staying inside of this structure. So yeah, now I wait. Basically it. Now it's just a game of patience. I don't know which of the two is gonna really make it happen. Got hit with the ad right when you started talking. That's gotta be frustrating. Who here is like, dude, fuck this guy, man. This guy and his ads. And the thing is too, I'm pretty sure the ads are at like the lowest setting. Like, how dare he get 14 cents for this stream? The audacity, dude. So basically, to recap, if you got hit with the ad, let's see. So you'd have to clear the highs, work your way down, and then it's between AUD USD, NZD USD. I'm gonna sell whichever one gets to the zone last. The reason I'm not looking to sell up here is because I believe we already saw the exchange between the buys and the sells there. So that's why I am not necessarily looking for sells up here. It could probably still work out because sometimes these levels are just strong anyways. So even if it's not like a mitigation, it still holds. So sometimes they sell off anyways. But I just don't count on it as much. Pierre, you asked, do you believe if someone started right now and decides to follow your daily session positions exactly as indicated, would they be profitable in 30 days? No, definitely not. I don't think that's likely to happen. It could, but I think it's less likely. And the reason being is, one, you're not wired to do any of this. So you have to change a lot. Like when you get into trading, honestly, your first 6 months is like just getting rid of a whole bunch of bad habits, bad perspective, like perspectives that don't help you as a trader. Some things help you in other things of life, but not as in trading. So like, for example, imagine that I go 40% win rate for the month. Okay, imagine I go 40% win rate for the month. Now at that win rate, my risk reward is more than enough to be profitable. But will someone be able to, if let's say I lose 3 in a row, will that person take that trade on the 4th one? Will they lose exactly when they're supposed to lose, or are they going to open up their stop? Are they going to enter again? So if someone were to do exactly how I do it, then yeah, there's a good chance. But I also can't control how my month is going to go. I'd say a quarter is definitely better. Most months, yeah, I would say there's a pretty good chance. Most months, like you guys that are rocking with me, you guys have seen it for years. Like we don't really have too many negative months, but it happens. March, maybe stay away from me in March. Historically, March is not it, man. Historically, the last 2 Marches, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I would say like if someone's gonna literally, like let's say you're walking into a chart and it's the first time you've ever experienced just day trading, 30 days, like you can get lucky, maybe, and you might hit it and you might actually do it and even do it better than you probably were supposed to because you just don't know. So there's kind of like a curvature. Like there's the good old kind of like ignorance is bliss, beginner's luck type of trading where you just don't know any better. You haven't developed any like trading fears at all. You just don't even know. There's like fears that people have, period. But sometimes you just start to develop trading fears. So you don't even know how to lose well or how to win well. Like none of that is even a thing yet. So you don't even know what you don't know. So for the sake of just mature thinking, I wouldn't even consider that kind of mindset, to be honest. Like the purpose of trading isn't to make money your first 30 days. That's not even the point. I would approach this like you would, I don't know, med school or something. It's not the same kind of practical approach. There's like a lot that needs to happen. Your comment on clearing out bad habits for the first 6 months is true. Yeah, and that's why I think you probably shouldn't trade with any money for 3 months, 6 months for the most part. And even when you get good at the technicals, you're still probably going to find a way to get in your own way. So, and man, we could talk about how many ways there is to do that. But yeah, this is not for the fair-hearted. Definitely not. Okay, so we talked about AUD and NZD/USD, and I'm glad you brought it up, Jonathan, because EUR/AUD and AUD/USD are also setups that I like, and I like a lot. So EUR/AUD, which for whatever reason is not on this chart, and here we go. So yeah, EUR/AUD and GBP/AUD actually look really similar, and it's a question of, oh my bad, so didn't mean to move that. EUR/AUD is kind of like the inverse of AUD/USD right now. They look pretty similar. It's just a matter of, again, what's going to happen, which one's going to get here. So it's a boring answer, but the setups are pretty similar. Here's EUR/AUD, and then here's GBP/AUD. I have both of these just lined up. It's just a matter of when the market gets to these levels and how things are going to look. So I'm kind of waiting it out, seeing what the market's going to look like when we get here. Right now, if you look, GBP/AUD is trading at around like a 38.2 pullback of the range that it's in right now. EUR/AUD is chilling a little bit higher. So as of right now, I would say it's a better bet at the moment for EUR/AUD to get to these levels. Would you think I should watch your correlations video? Yeah, Alonzo, you're definitely ready for that, bro. For sure. So cool. So yeah, wait, hold on. I got a question for you guys because I don't think I really got any feedback, which I thought I was actually surprised. If eventually, once I have 10,000 subs here, and I was doing, let's just say like a New York session stream, like after maybe like, I don't know, after the market, after a couple hours of it being open, and I hosted just like a fundraiser type of stream, and let's just say you did make money that session, would you guys be down for a good cause? Like, hey, here's $5 to feed a family in, Nicaragua or like Ghana or something. Let me know, because I'm gonna do it regardless. I'm gonna have streams where it's like, all right, whatever I make that day, like we're just gonna give that. I think it's gonna be sick. Okay, so this is basically it. This is basically what I got. I didn't really get into stocks. I'll give you guys the two that I'm interested in. These are, I'd say, a little riskier. Actually, hold on. Let me share this real quick before I move on. All right, here we go. All right, so here's EUR/AUD. Here you go. There's the chart, and then GBP/AUD. I'm leaning, and actually, I sent this out already. So if you guys don't follow me on TradingView, I sent out. Oh wow! So currencies get a lot more views than stocks do on here. Interesting. I did not realize TradingView is lit. Like, they got 400 views on this one post. Decent. Mad decent. Alright. So here's the gold one. And then for those of you, this is kind of easier to follow along anyways. These are just like ideas that I just posted, freebies here. And then here's the EUR/AUD GBP/AUD one. This way you can kind of just see how they're traveling along. So you can see now right here, it's over here. And for GBP/AUD, it's trading down here. So they're a little different. Easier to follow along with for those of you guys that just see me once a week. Here you go. Okay, cool. So there you guys have it. And then the two that I'm curious about right now, and again, I'm only looking from a technical analysis perspective. I have not looked at this from a fundamentals aspect, which is obviously really important. But with Dollar General, I mean, we're going back to like 2017 prices. We have some good mitigation at a as price approaches kind of 76 $75. So I'm still waiting for this to drop a little lower if it does. And then if it does, then I like entries at basically $75. And I'm looking to take some money at a 35% increase, and then again here sitting at right around a 50%. So Dollar General, we'll see. This is a massive, just like this thing just died. So yeah, curious to see what that looks like. The next earnings report is in basically 3 months, so this will probably be a slow burner. And then you have Walgreens. Walgreens is one I feel a bit more confident about, considering they've been around for like just forever. So Walgreens, similar scenario. And this one actually on the live stream, I dove into this. So crazy. This is one of the probably, I think this might be the setup that I went back the furthest. Like we literally went back to 1996 price action, and I shit you not, like we do this. So 1996, some of you weren't even born yet, and September 1996 price action, we're looking at 28 years basically to date, and we took positions here at $8.50, very, very precise. And as of now, as of like today, we are up about 5% or so. It went up a little bit more than that, but either way, this is another idea that I think can have quite the beautiful risk reward. So, seeing this have a potential 130% gain, and then if you are on an option side of things, then that's just a whole other thing. But yeah, so these are the two ideas that I like right now, and then I can send you guys some of my charts for both. Here's the Dollar General one. This is one that I posted 4 days ago, and I appreciate everybody that's in here just active and just responding, giving their insights, comments. Like, that's the only way. In my opinion, this is how you get better, is by just actually engaging, seeking feedback, requesting perspective. It's the way to go. So there you go, guys. I dropped the Dollar General chart, the Walgreens chart, and that's about it. We'll call it a day there. So good session, guys. We spent a good hour and 15 minutes here. So that's my third stream of the day. Calling it there. So much love, y'all. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see y'all soon.